them and bring them in. Thank you very much once again, sir. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining today's presentation. My name once again is Idowu Mishile. I'm the head of operations at Project Partner Data Solutions, an international research consultancy with our current office in Ile-Ife in Osun State, Nigeria. Today is Tuesday, Sunday, 26th of January 2025, and this is the second second edition in our series about building a career in research and analysis. Last week we had the first session, which was an introductory session where we introduced you to understand what exactly we are talking about in this subject matter of research. And today I am honored to bring in my boss, Dr. Olujide Arije. Let me just tell you a brief story. I met him, that should be around 2015 or so, 2015 or 2016. He's also a pastor in church, and then he introduced me to Institute of Public Health and Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife in Osun State in Nigeria, where he works. And I went to do an internship there. I was like, do I really need something like this? And it turned out to be a defining experience for me, because being there was when I learned about qualitative research, which was the most revolutionary experience I've ever had so far, along with several other things. So he has also opened a lot of opportunities for me. I learned so much working with him even till now. And I know that no matter any job I take, I'm always confident, because I know that if anything goes out of hand, I can always run to him and say, okay, do this, do this. So if I have any confidence, I say, okay, I don't worry, no matter what I do, I have people I can run to. So I'm very honored to be bringing him up today to come and talk to us about how large the field of data analysis and research is. He does it on a large scale, like on a really large scale, and I'm really grateful to you, sir, for taking the time to be here with us today. Thank you very much, sir. We are very grateful. So without further ado, we can proceed to your presentations. I will be talking to us in the next few minutes about the field of data analysis and research, and then you have an opportunity to ask some questions. Thank you very much, sir. Please welcome with me Dr. Olujide Arije. You are welcome, sir. Please let me see your.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody, and great to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this. This is really nice. This series you're doing, and I'm rooting for the success. I know that to be a resource that people can reference in the future days. So I suppose you ask me questions and I'll answer like an interview type thing.
Okay. I don't know if you can talk to us freely first, then I can ask a few questions. Maybe you can tell us your journey in the field of research, and then I will ask a few questions accordingly, sir.
Okay, great. So I graduated from the University of Ibadan in 2005 with from medical school MBBS. I remember back then I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do. I thought maybe I want to be a pediatrician. At some point, I wanted to be gynecologist. You know, that thing about when you're going through a particular posting, then you think, oh, that's your specialty, until you go to the next posting. But there's one posting I knew I was never going to, that was psychiatry. By the time I finished all, none of them really appealed to me. You know, during internship and all of that. It was after youth service that's what I really wanted to do was a bit more clearer to me. So I thought, okay, I was going to do public health. And so I decided to start to see if I could get a master's in public health outside Nigeria, other places, and all of that. All of that did not work out until I got a placement to do residency at the Obafemi Awolowo University, in which I did residency in community health. And community health, it's you could call it a subspecialty or a cousin or a brother of public health. Public health is like the bigger umbrella. It has many sub areas. So community health is one of such, and so I did residency training for 5 years. Now, the basic science of community of public health is epidemiology and biostatistics. So, for you to be a specialist public health physician or community health physician, you have to pass. You have to take courses and pass epidemiology and biostatistics, and that was really what sparked my interest. Um, Needed to prepare for exams. I remember back then, one of the things I did was I read whole textbooks of biostatistics. I read from cover to cover, you know, and then I got challenges from my bosses who gave me work to do, that gave me responsibility for managing data. I've never done it before as an individual. So I had to, I became, it led me to learn SPSS, and subsequently I learned Stata, which became my preference for data analysis. So and that went on also because part of the residency included doing research and doing dissertation. I needed to do qualitative research, so I learned qualitative methods and qualitative analysis. So all of that combined was that 5 6 years of training brought was when I acquired all of the foundation for being an expert in public health research. And of course, because in doing this, there are infrastructures already on ground, senior colleagues who are already doing research that get to involve us in research. So I started getting involved, and then I became involved with Institute of Public Health, which Idowu had already mentioned. Um, I did the rotation in Institute of Public Health as a resident, and subsequently I came back to work there, first as an associate and then as a permanent staff. So, and my primary responsibility is research. So I'm a research fellow in Institute of Public Health. So Institute of Public Health does research. So what we do is three things essentially: research, training, and services. So I'll be focusing on research today because that's what we're talking about. For research, there are two strands that you could, or maybe three strands, when it comes to research. The first strand is the strand of, for IPH, that is a strand of grants. So there are many organizations all over the world that advertise grants, which is really scientific research for scientific purpose, which is related to public health. So, in order to be able to do that, you need to learn how to write proposals, go to defend the proposals, and that includes, writing the proposal includes, the methodology of the research, the budget for the research. You need to learn all of those aspects, and then go to defend the proposal, and by the grace of God, your organization wins the grant. Then you kick it off. You organize for the data collection, which starts with recruiting research assistants, training them, preparing the research instruments, several things. Um, Pre-testing the research instruments, advocacy to stakeholders where you're going to collect your data, doing the actual data collection, managing the process, cleaning up the data, analyzing it, writing a report, disseminating the report. So that's the life cycle of a research. Similar to grants, which Grants are typically for academic purpose, scientific and academic purpose. Um, they will also have consultancies. So you have many organizations looking for people to take up bits of their work that is related to research. So it's not a grant per se. They just need it's a business arrangement where you're providing research services. This particular one is very lucrative because then you get to make some income both for your organization, depending on the arrangement, and for yourself depending on the arrangement. So you look into websites, newspapers for advertisements of research consultancies. Some of these consultancies will be for organizations. So you see whether your organization qualifies. It could be for individuals. You see whether you qualify and all. Then the third strand is part of the smaller scale when you have people around that want to do analysis. So it could be thesis related analysis, it could be manuscript. So there's a researcher that wants to publish a paper, needs somebody to do analysis for them. You do all that. That also includes consulting because people come to ask you about appropriate research methods, about sample sizes, and all of that. So those are the three strands. From an academic point of view, or for a person that is in an academic setting, like I am, there is the grants, which is for academic and scientific purpose. There is the consultancies, which may be for individuals or for organizations, and then there is the smaller scale, which usually individuals that request for analysis of their work. Um, on the other side is people who do research for business. So that second model that I talked about, consultancy, there are people who do that for business. For instance, Project Partner is one of such organization that is hosting us today that do research consultancies for business, and there are big organizations that do that. And of course, nearly every field of endeavor um, requires some research. So this research consultancies goes beyond just public health. I'm a public health specialist, so I tend to do work related to public health. But many organizations that do research consultancies are able to go beyond public health to do democracy related research, agriculture related research, veterinary science related research, um, other development related research across all fields, social sciences, behavioral sciences, and all of that. So there are people that do that. Of course, they do it at different skills. Of course, there's also the marketing research. The organizations that what they do is marketing research. So they do product research, product development research. They do surveys or opinion. They do poll like in they do pollings for say politics and all those things. The science behind all of this is research, is scientific research, is data collection, is data management, is interpretation, but the application is different because of the different fields. So the field is broad, it's very interesting. So yeah, so I think that's an introduction I can give. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That's very, very deep and wide at the same time, sir. So we are talking about how large the field of data and analysis is. So which industries do you think rely most heavily on data analysis and research today?
Well, um so there are from a business point of view. So let me answer your question from a business point of view. The organizations that need data analysis consults or services are usually um, international NGOs and even some local NGOs. So many international NGOs and local NGOs, they need to demonstrate that their interventions, they need to show evidence of the effectiveness of the intervention. So they do many interventions. They do interventions for nutrition, they do interventions for education, for family planning, contraception, they do intervention for politics and peace and security, community development. They do all kinds of interventions. The way they can show their donors that those interventions are successful is by providing evidence, scientific evidence. Those scientific evidence essentially is collecting data, relevant data, and then presenting the results. So, of course, many of these organizations have resident data managers, but many times, for the sake of conflict of interest, they usually require third party organizations or individuals, in this case consultants, to conduct their research for them. So there's always that opportunity for research work. And of course, I'm not just talking about data analysis alone, I'm talking about the whole complement of research, from the conceptualizing the research to the end point of disseminating the results, and all the things that are in between. Sometimes the consultancies they request for is just to write a report. They've collected the data. Sometimes the consultancy is to do data collection. It really varies uh, for organizations. So international NGOs, some local NGOs. In Nigeria, government not so much, but there are some government agencies that recruit because they also get donor funds for which they need to provide evidence of success. So organizations like Ministry of Health, that in my own experience, the um NACA, that's the Agency for Control of AIDS, National Agency for Control of AIDS, amongst a few others. I'm sure perhaps in other areas like commerce, finance, economics, and all of that, they also take consultants to do bits of work for them. So it really, uh, if that is your area of specialty, then you probably find application in that area or in those areas. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Just like two more questions, and I'll take questions from the audience. Since I was telling people last week that since COVID-19 came, data analysis has become very lucrative. So people say, I want to become a data analyst. So I want you to please talk when people say they're into data analysis, what exactly are they likely going to be doing? And how can they position themselves effectively for careers in data analysis and research?
Okay, so the most important thing in any career is to develop these skills, and that really should be the priority. I had the blessing of developing the skill as part of my training. It was somewhat like something required for my training to qualify for some degree I was working for. So it wasn't something I did separately, though I went the extra mile to learn a few more things. So the first thing is acquiring the skills. For a data analyst, now let me just say this very quickly. In the last, say, 5 years, the scope of data analysis has widened to what is called data science, which has even much broader application beyond, say, your um, beyond, say, what biostatistics applications. It's gone way beyond that. So we need to understand that scope. That when we talk about data analysis, we're talking. I'm referring to the type of data that you use in, say, public health research, in your in epidemiological type studies. That's really what I am referring to. So there's broader scope because you can be a data analyst managing data or retail data from a supermarket, maybe like ShopRite, and you're managing that retail data. You know, depending on the kind of skill. So the first thing is acquire the skills. So what's your area of interest? So if your area of interest is um, this epidemiological type research, you need to acquire knowledge of statistics. For folks like me, it's knowledge of biostatistics specifically, but generally you need to acquire knowledge of statistics. So descriptive statistics, inferential statistics. So that's the first thing: mean, median, mode, standard deviation, measures of dispersion, range, variance, standard deviation. Then inferential statistics, going to t-tests, ANOVA. You need to know those things. The interesting thing is that those things are so fundamental that you will be applying them. You'll find places where you need to apply those knowledge as you go. Sometimes it's consulting people, giving them the correct what they need to do correctly. All right, but sometimes because everybody does some basic statistics, so they come with a lot of assumptions. They put a lot of assumptions in their work. So sometimes what they propose is completely wrong. It's completely out of place. As the analyst, you need to be able to correct it. So you need that knowledge. Like I told you, there were at least two biostatistics that I read from beginning to the end. At least I tried to read from beginning to the end. I read majority of the chapters, if not all the chapters in those books. So I needed to be founded in the knowledge of statistics. Then the other thing is you need to choose your instruments. When pilots meet each other, one of the questions they ask is, "What's your instrument? What do you fly?" Okay, so as an analyst, what is your software? SPSS, Stata, R, Python. There are several others, but those I believe are the four most popular when it comes to basic data analysis. SPSS is probably the most widely known, most available, I would say. But when you start to move away from SPSS, you need to learn to do programming, at least write code syntax for interacting with the software, and which increases the sophistication of the work you can do beyond just point and click. So Stata, R, and then Python. So if you want to be a specialist, I want to say that you have to be a master of at least one of those softwares. I also recommend that you should go for the ones that you really need to learn how to write the syntax. It really, really brings a lot of beauty. Not to disparage any other software, but just a personal preference. So SPSS, Stata, R, Python. There are several others, but Americans would probably talk about SAS, and there are several others. But those four particularly, I recommend that you should learn them and master them. All right. And now you should master them, not just master them as something. I mean, take courses. I attended workshops. In fact, I was jump started by workshops that I attended. I bought books, I photocopied books, I downloaded books. I did courses in Stata. I read many Stata books. I enjoy using Stata, so I read many Stata books, and all. Now I'm learning R, working on R, working on Python. I use it to some degree. Now with AI, it even works better now with AI, that you can generate codes with AI. But if you generate Python codes with AI and you don't even know how to read them or how to modify them, of course you can tell the AI to continue to modify for you, but it's always useful that you are in the driver's seat, even though it is the chatbot that is generating the codes for you. The important thing is to know the principles, and then you can apply it when you're sleeping, when you're awake, at any point in time. Learn the principles, learn statistics, master the software. The rest will be history. Of course, the other part will be getting jobs. And I'm sure Mr. Edowu will testify that one of the um, one of the things about getting consultancies. Often, this kind of work is often short-term consultancies, but I must say that the organizations that employ analysts on projects, a 5-year project, 3-year project, I have a number of people that have that. Uh, and once you get into those kind of organizations, it's easier to go to the next organization because you have reference. But even if you don't do that, you're just working as a consultant. If you do good job in one place, it's very likely that you will be called back. You'll be the preferred candidate for the next job, or you'll be a good referral will be made for you. So master it and then wait for the floodgate to open. Um, so one of my bosses said something that sometimes the work of consultants is like standing at a bus stop. Sometimes you will have stood there for a long time and not even a single cab will stop by. Then all of a sudden, 10 cabs will show up asking you to use their service at the same time. So, but once you develop expertise and then you start acquire that management skills, you can start becoming an employer, just like project partners, being able to bring other people on board to both train and to work to do handle multiple projects at the same time.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Does anybody have a question before I ask my last question? So while you are preparing your questions, there are some key points that Dr. Arije has mentioned. He said, number one, manage retail data. Okay, he said that knowledge of statistics is important. If you're going to be a data analyst, descriptive analysis, inferential analysis, then he said choose your instrument. There has to be one particular instrument that is your primary instrument of work, and that's likely what people will be consulting you for. He mentioned SPSS, Theta, R, Python specifically. He said be a master of at least one of these softwares. Then he said take courses, attend workshops, read books, and he said learn the principles. Then he also mentioned doing a good job. If you do a good job, the floodgates will open. Once you develop expertise, the jobs will keep coming, and you have to think about how to manage the flow. Does anybody have any questions? Somebody has a question in the WhatsApp chat. What data analysis tool would you advise a beginner to have, sir? So that's the question, sir.
Yeah, so I suppose I've been focused on quantitative analysis, which is using like descriptive and inferential statistics. And I suppose we should also think of analysis from a mixed methods point of view. So let me address that question from both perspectives. So for the quantitative, well, most of us started with SPSS. It's kind of because most of us don't have programming background. We are not programmers. So point and click is easy to use. SPSS, when you run an SPSS query or you do a point and click, it will bring a lot of results for you. You don't have to be searching for too many things. And in fact, sometimes the result can be so overwhelming and you wonder which one should you use or you should not use and all of that. So, and SPSS has fantastic help with step-by-step examples that you can actually practice and they explain it. So it's very useful for many analysis that you may want to do, things you've never heard before. Supposing somebody says you should do principal component analysis, like what is that? Never done it before. And then you start to learn. So SPSS has many resources. Of course, because SPSS has been around for a long time, there are many video resources, there are many book resources on the internet. So SPSS perhaps is the easiest to start with because it's just point and click, point and click. But of course, there is also the syntax for SPSS. You may also want to learn it. I often use it when I have a lot of repetitive task to do in the analysis. I just do copy and paste and then write the syntax, adjust it, and all of that. So it's useful. However, it seems to be that using the programming oriented ones, it's more it's I haven't used SPSS. Using these other ones like Stata, like R and Python, they seem more fun to me. They are lighter weights, less cumbersome. You can completely control the process. It's what you tell it to give you, that to give you. Of course, they're also very popular. They've been around for a bit. So you have many resources, many books, and then many of these because it's something like R and Python. A lot of it is open source,
Mm-hmm.
so there are many modules, that are specialized modules that you may find useful, that people have written. It's not in the official software, but somebody has written it. So you use it for your work. I've done many analysis that I need to use a user generated um, analysis method. So and then, of course, the help files are there. So I find Stata particularly very useful. R, very interesting. Python, very fantastic for generating charts, and all of that. And then, of course, with the advent of AI, makes life even easier because you can use AI to write some of these codes and then run it in the proper environment. So to summarize that, perhaps if you're fresh, you're not a computer person per se, learn statistics and start with SPSS. Otherwise, I would say jump it right in the middle of it. Learn to do the syntax type analysis, Stata, R, Python. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So, lastly, as we round off for today, what advice do you have for our participants that are planning to build their career in data analysis and research, especially if person is from a non-mathematical background, maybe someone that studied English or religious studies, but heard about data analysis as interested in becoming a data analyst?
So let your interest drive you to learn. Let your interest drive you to learn. That is it. So I've discovered something about acquiring skills. The most the people that would thrive most in any skill acquisition process are those that are interested in it. If you see, if you learn Stata now, you have 5 days of Stata workshop, or maybe Atlas TI for qualitative research, or NVivo, or maybe Python 5 days, and then the next time you are going to pick it is 3 months time. I want to tell you that you may not those 5 days may not be of little benefit for you. But if you're the kind of guy that every morning you're on that computer, you're pressing the button, you're saying, what, how do you even do this? How do you even do that? You're reading, you're looking for things, you're looking for information every day. All right. So it's your interest that's going to save you. All right. It's your interest that's going to get you there. If you're not interested, then it will be a laborious one. Trying to get It's like taking the horse to the river. If you take the horse to the river, you can never force the horse to drink water.
Mm-hmm.
If you push the horse long enough, he will kick you. He may kick you if it's
Mm.
to the nasty horse. So interest will drive you to read. Interest will drive you to learn to do courses. Interest will drive you to get the software. Interest will drive you to, even though you don't have any work, you download it, maybe the example software and example data. Many of those softwares have some example data sets, and then you start to work on it and all of that, until one day somebody says, do it for me, and then you do it. So it's interest. If you are not interested, you're not going to go very far. But if you're interested, I won't have to advise you. It's like the saying that you don't advise the fly to fly away from a hot stove. Flies only rest on cold stove. Once it's hot, you don't need to preach to them. So you got to have interest, and you got to let your interest drive you to do all of the work you need to do.
All right. Somebody is asking, where can we get the example data sets, sir?
So the softwares themselves, if you check the help files, for instance, Stata comes with, if it's on your system, it comes with the help files. At the very bottom, they show examples and they show the data to use with the example. So that's one. Then many books that are written on these softwares they also come with their complement of data. In fact, many starter books have complements of both the codes and the data. So in fact, that's one of my earliest training approach. So all of the examples they did, I did it alongside as I read the book. And of course, I was able to acquire the knowledge and then be able to apply it. And then I'm always interested in taking challenging analysis. So maybe there's a method. There are many methods that in my own field we don't use. But once I had the opportunity to do some of this analysis, I need to go and read about it, but I need to be able to explain. I need to be able to explain to the person. All right. So I find that very interesting. I like to take on analysis that is not even in my own primary field.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Please let's give a round of applause to our presenter. Please, yeah, I'll let the applause start coming in. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Hafiz, I don't want to take it because this session is meant to be short and we are done. But if you can send your chat now before I'm done with my presentation, then I will allow you to, I will take your question. So thank you once again, sir, for availing us of the time. He got this information at a short notice, but he has been very supportive from the outset. Like, I think you can do this thing and you should go ahead. So this is my saying thank you very much, sir. So for all these things, you have opportunity to learn some of this train software from our organization. We just finished a 3-day free course in Microsoft Excel yesterday. We'll be posting the free video on our YouTube channel sometimes very shortly. And we had an SPSS class earlier in January, but we'll be holding again in this the month of February. Watch out for information about that. And NVivo training holds in February, June and October on-site and virtual. So you can follow the link here. It will also be posted in the chat for you to pick whichever one you want to take. And we have an advanced training in data analysis with SPSS that's holding in the month of March. It's totally free and it's going to handle some of the big stuff working with data analysis. It's not for beginners. So if you want to take this course, we advise you to first take the free one, the basic one that is holding in February. Watch out for more information on that. And then our seminar series continue on next week Sunday, where we are bringing another presenter to talk to us about the tools that you can use in data analysis. So if Mr. Hafiz can drop his question now, if I don't get it in the next 5 seconds, I will end this session. Mr. Hafiz, can you drop your question in the chat box? Okay, I'm not hearing anything from him. Thank you very much, sir, for honoring us with your presence. Thank you, everybody. I hope to see you again next week when we have another topic along this line. Thank you very much, sir, and do have a blessed week, sir. Thank you very much.